it happened. Got my first negative feedback on eBay in over 10 years. 10 years! For over 10 years, I was able to maintain 100% positive feedback on the eBay platform. And then here recently, somebody had to swoop in and ruin it. And I think the part that makes me the most frustrated about the fact that I got this negative feedback after having 10 years of a perfect 100% was why they left the negative feedback. So I wanted to talk to you guys about it because I also want to let you know how I got it removed. That's right. I got a negative feedback on eBay and I was able to get it removed, and I'm going to tell you exactly why it happened, how it happened, and how I was able to get it removed right now. So negative feedbacks are a part of selling on the eBay platform. They are the buyer's way of warning other buyers when a seller is a bad seller. And where I have a problem with this is when buyers simply abuse it to try to get back at sellers for not getting what they want. And that is exactly what happened in this situation. So I had a buyer purchase a single stick of deodorant from me for $12.24. Now I know what you're thinking, $12.24 for a stick of deodorant. That's really pricey. Well, that's because this stick of deodorant was a clinical strength deodorant, therefore commands a little bit higher of a price, and there was also free shipping. So when you take into account the fact that it's clinical strength, there was shipping already included, $12.24 is pretty typical of that kind of deodorant. So there was no issues with the buyer prior to this. They made their purchase. I shipped it in time, they received it, but shortly after they received it, they opened a return. And in the eBay return, they stated that they had ordered 2 deodorants and only received 1, so they wanted a full refund. Which already that's kind of a head scratcher, because if you open a return because you were expecting 2 and you got 1, why do you want a full refund? You know, if you thought you were ordering 2 and you only got 1, wouldn't you want a partial refund? Or perhaps you would request to receive the second one that you thought you were initially getting? No, they wanted to return it and they wanted a full refund, stating that it was an item not as described. They were promised 2 and they only received 1. So because I offer free returns, that was a non-issue. The return was automatically approved and I expected to just receive the deodorant back and I was going to give them a refund as long as it was unused. That's not what happened. Instead, the return sat open for days and days, and then a little over a week, and then 2 weeks, and they never shipped it back. And literally on the day I had intended to contact eBay to close the return because the buyer never sent it back, they left me a negative feedback. And in the negative feedback, they stated that I sent them the wrong item and I refused to give them their money back. Which in my opinion was very strange because they never even sent it back. So why were they expecting to get a full refund? And I have to tell you, seeing that negative feedback after having over a decade of 100% positive feedback, it was literally a gut punch. Like I could feel my heart palpitating. I had a pit in my stomach. I was really upset. And I know that I tell you guys all the time not to take it personally. Some customers cannot be pleased, but the fact that this was my first negative feedback in over a decade, it hurt. It hurt me bad, especially because it was nothing that I did wrong. Nowhere in the listing did it indicate that this buyer was to receive 2 deodorants for the price of 1. They received exactly what they had ordered. I even offer free returns, so they were welcome to ship it back if they wanted a refund, but they never did any of that. Instead, they kept it and they left me a negative feedback stating that I never gave them their money back when they never even returned it to begin with. So thankfully, I do have eBay Concierge. So when it comes to contacting customer service, for me, it's a little bit easier. I get directly to somebody. That was one of the benefits of attending the eBay Open conferences every year, is I'm automatically enrolled in eBay Concierge. It's very similar to Anchor Store support. So if you have Anchor Store or you want to reach the Anchor Store level at some point, you will get a dedicated customer service rep. It's the same kind of concept. product, I was able to contact them and talk to them about having the negative feedback removed. And this is where there is like a little bit of a learning opportunity here. So the reason why I had decided to contact eBay customer service by telephone was because I tried to use the new seller support center to try to get that negative feedback removed virtually without having to call anybody, and it was rejected. And the reason why it was rejected was because there was still an open pending return. So this is definitely information I wanted to pass on to you guys. The eBay Seller Help Support Center is fantastic, but just keep in mind that it's really hard for their system to approve anything in your favor if there is still an open pending case. So that is exactly why I decided to call eBay directly, because I knew that there was no way that that negative feedback would stand. It made 0 sense. Especially because I offer free returns. That is actually a perk to doing free returns, is it's almost like a level of seller protection, because if the buyer has a problem with the item that you send them, they can easily return it for a full refund, which literally means there's no reason for them to leave you negative feedback, because they have the option to send it back and get their money back in full. Which leads me to my question for you. Are you guys interested in me doing a video all about my experience doing 60-day free returns on eBay? If so, let me know down in the comments below. I can do an entire video about the pros, the cons, and my experience doing 60 days free returns on eBay over the last 6 months. But that's kind of one of the perks to doing the free returns, is that it's almost like a guaranteed protection for you as the seller. And so I knew, because of the entire situation, there is no way that that negative feedback was gonna stand. I was going to talk to as many customer service reps as I needed to get that off my record, because it was just nonsensical. So when I spoke with eBay customer service, they had notified me that the reason why the online appeal was denied was because the return was still open, but because so much time had passed, they were able to transfer me to the department to have the return closed and have that negative feedback removed automatically. So I am very pleased to say that because I do free returns and because I contacted eBay customer support, they were able to remove that negative feedback. So therefore, my feedback is back at 100%. Yes. But the plot thickens. All of this happened over the last couple of weeks, but yet this morning, yes, the morning that I'm filming this video, I was notified that this buyer opened up a case in PayPal to get their money back. So because eBay denied them any sort of refund, they went to PayPal, which is kind of one of those things that's extra frustrating, because you would think that the door would be slammed shut in their face because eBay says no, but that's not the case. Because they paid with PayPal, they do have some level of buyer protection via PayPal. So they were able to open up a case and try to get their money back. So all I was able to do was respond to PayPal, let them know the situation that was going on from my perspective, and now I just have to sit around and wait the outcome. And unfortunately, because I do not have an outcome at the time of filming this video, when I do have an outcome to how this entire situation plays out, I'll just have to stick it in a pinned comment on this video. So if you really want to know how this plays out, check back in a few days, look for the pinned comment. Hopefully I will have some sort of resolution and I'll be able to tell you guys how it came out. But all of this is to say, just because you get a negative feedback doesn't mean it has to stay there. Do what you can to try to get it removed. The eBay new seller help portal is an amazing tool. You can go in there, you can file complaints on buyers if you have an issue with a buyer, you can request negative feedback removal. If you have any sort of issues in eBay at all, if you don't want to have to call customer support, then you can use the seller help portal in order to do any of that. But just know, if there are any current open cases, your claims will probably be denied and you will have to call somebody to handle it for you. But if you're looking to just, file a complaint on a buyer, the seller help portal is perfect for that. I have personally had to do that myself. I have had some buyers initial false INAD claims. I've had buyers trying to extort me for a partial refund with threatening negative feedback. And when that kind of stuff happens, the eBay Seller Help Center is perfect because I don't even have to pick up the phone. I can just file the complaint right there and eBay can handle it for you. And keep in mind, if you do get a negative feedback and you cannot get it removed, it is really not the end of the world. I know that I was a little bit dramatic about it, you know, because it was my first negative feedback in over a decade. I know I felt really dramatic about it, but realistically, you know what it dropped my score to? It went from 100% to 99.9, y'all. 99.9, and I was about ready to have a panic attack. Drama queen. And I really don't think that if that negative feedback remained on my account, I really don't think it would have impacted my sales at all. You know, I don't think that people would have stopped buying from me because I had one negative feedback or even 2 or 3, just because I do have so much good positive feedback on my account. So if you do happen to get a negative feedback, just know that that's a part of eBay. It happens to all sellers, and sometimes all buyers cannot be pleased. Sometimes they're gonna gripe, and unfortunately, sometimes they gripe in the negative feedback section of your seller feedback. But now I wanna hear from you guys. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you guys have success with getting rid of negative feedbacks? Tell me your story. I always love to hear the different kind of situations where people have negative feedback removed, because I feel like if we all exchange that kind of information, it kind of helps alleviate the stress when we do receive a negative feedback. Because if we receive a similar kind of negative feedback, it's a little bit comforting to hear that someone else has experienced it as well and they were able to get it removed. It's a way to reassure that just because that negative feedback is there doesn't mean it's gonna be there. Let me know down in the comments below. When have you had a negative feedback removed? What was the circumstances? What length did you have to go to have it removed? Tell me down in the comments below. If you like this video and videos like this, please do give it a thumbs up. That way I know and I can continue to make content like this. Don't forget to check the video description. I will put some useful information in there, as well as some links to the seller help portal if you're having trouble finding it. And do remember to subscribe if you're interested in seeing more content. And I'll see you guys with my next video. Bye-bye.